thought it was actually Pierce Brosnan. Again, chaps, I'm sorry, we all have our favourites, but he has gone up in my estimation in recent weeks and months, and I've never disliked Brosnan's Bond. I mean, the Bond forms I've been on over the years, he's been ribbed relentlessly for Pain Face and all this other stuff, but on the quiet, he did his best with the role. And of all the Bond actors, we'll exclude Sean Connery and George Lazenby because they were too early in the franchise, say, when they were chosen, but he seemed to be the one that really wanted Bond for a while. I mean, if things had gone the way they should have done in a way, he would have surely have been Bond in 1987, were it not for Remington Steele. And then all the legality business takes hold, and he doesn't get to be Bond until 95, and even then, in a way, only because Dalton dropped out fairly late in the game. I mean, Dalton held out until at least 1994. I think in the faint hope possibly something would happen, or just out of loyalty. So Brosnan is the first Bond of the 90s, the first Bond after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of the Cold War. Russia's not quite the enemy now, well then. Russia was in a terrible state economically to what it is now. The leader was wibbly-wobbly, and here comes Bond. One of his allies in GoldenEye is Russian, Valentin Zukovsky. And the Brosnan films kind of, from all the way through to Die Another Day, veer between Moore-esque territory to sort of Connery Dalton. There's humour in it, and there's some gags in it. The line is mostly lines rather than visual gags, like the double taking pigeon in Moonraker. But they just veered in style. It's like, GoldenEye is probably his best film. It looks dark, quite literally, by the photography, which is good. And his Bond sort of was probably the first really, was ahead of Craig in feeling sorry for himself and moping and doping. I say doping, you know what I mean. And he's also got a bit of pressure, I would have thought, Brosnan, in doing the first Bond film in 6 years. I mean, as I say, I didn't really grow up with a Bond as such in the cinemas until Brosnan's came out, and even then I didn't get to see my first Bond in the cinema until World Is Not Enough, for various reasons. I mean, I was underage to see GoldenEye because I think it was a 12, and I think Tomorrow Never Dies didn't last long enough in my local cinema. I know my parents were hoping to take us, but we couldn't go after school, and it was gone. I think it only lasted something stupid like 2 weeks. Well, my way. So. And then they kind of, Tomorrow Never Dies to Die Another Day, have their sort of outlandish moments, but also their grounded moments. You got the Paris relationship in Tomorrow Never Dies, you've got the fleet going to China to sort China out, and Bond, I like him being a Navy chap, is kind of feeling aggrieved at the loss of the Devonshire because he's a Navy man. And then you've got the whole getting even with Carver, and then in World Is Not Enough, there's the Electra angle, and then going after Renard, and Sikorsky, and then Die Another Day, he's trying to get a measure or solace, if I may, who betrayed him. And then of course Die Another Day gets lost to some in the sea of CGI, and some of the green screen and whatnot doesn't look right now. And I'm not really mad on Jinx, and Gustav Grace is hammy, but then it's the way it's done, I suppose. So he wasn't a bad Bond. He looked the part. He could wear a suit, the best since Moore. And I think he was kind of hard done by, really. The one Bond that wanted to carry on was fired, and yet the one Bond he doesn't want to do the job, or doesn't seem to want to do the job, Mr. Craig, is kept on by Babs Broccoli. I reckon she's got something on Craig, or vice versa. So, I think let's play a what if game, if Brosnan had come back for a fifth film in, say, 2004, and that was Casino Royale, and it was done vaguely similar to what we got, but not quite, i.e. it was actually set in bloody France, and there wasn't the flipping Africa and Venice bits, like if they somehow restrained it and did things you know, and kept it to a decent running time, say around 2 hours, who knows, it could have been Brosnan's best film. I think Brosnan had it in him to do a fantastically decent film if given a good enough script, good enough director, and the rest of it. You never know, and that's the trouble with what ifs, really, isn't it? As we'll see shortly.